Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free English ebook before it's gone. Hi everybody, welcome back to English Topics. I'm joined again today by...
I'm Davey.
Hi Davey, and today we're going to be talking about American accents. These are different American accents that you will hear in TV, in movies, and if you visit the USA, perhaps in different regions as well. So we're going to share and try our best to share what these accents might sound like, but forgive us in advance if it's not perfect. Anyway, let's begin. You want to start us off?
All right, sure.
Okay.
Well, I guess I'll go in alphabetical order. And my first one is Boston. A nice Boston accent is a sort of classic, strong American accent. And they're really famous. The famous thing that the Boston accent does is it drops the rhotic R that follows a vowel. So the classic example is if you have a car, you park your car in Harvard Yard, but you don't say it that way. So you park your car in Harvard Yard. That's the classic Boston example, and that's probably all I can do of that accent.
Oh, I've got another one that my mom used to use for the Boston accent that had the same thing.
Let's hear it.
Which was, let's go up to 33rd and 3rd Street and listen to the Boyd's chirp.
Sure.
It's like that R sound. It's totally different from the way that we're speaking now.
Yes.
So, but it's hard, I think, if you're not expecting that.
No, it's a really distinct accent.
The first time you hear that, it's shocking, actually.
It's interesting because I think a lot of accents in the U.S. and a lot of places are often regional, right? They're for a whole region, and sometimes they're very specific to a city. And I think Boston is that case. It's very specific to a very kind of small location. It's this city in the Northeast.
Yeah. I think you do see that in movies, actually, a lot.
Definitely, yes.
For sure.
It's interesting to me the way that different accents are associated with different like stereotypes of people in movies and things like that. So in movies or on television, oftentimes that Boston accent is associated with a kind of like tough, no-nonsense attitude. Yeah. And I'm sure there are tough, no-nonsense people in Boston, but I'm sure there are people that are not so tough and tolerate a lot of nonsense.
That is probably true. True anywhere.
What do you have for us, Alicia?
All right, I'm gonna choose. I'm gonna start where I was born and a place that I love to make fun of all the time. The Californian accent. I say the Californian accent, but there's not just one. So maybe my favorite accent to make fun of is what's called the Valley Girl accent. The Valley Girl accent is known for making all statements sound like a question and having a very whiny manner of speech. There's also this sort of weird thing that seems to be not specific, but very common in speech among young women, particularly from California. And that's something called vocal fry. Where women will like drop the pitch of their voice in order to, well, just to kind of create a different manner of speech. There are a variety of reasons why people do that. And I didn't actually know, but I do it. I just grew up talking that way, though. It never occurred to me I should use this kind of speech in a certain like situation. Right. I just grew up speaking that way. But in recent years, vocal fry has been the subject of discussion in some things I've read. But anyway, so a typical California Valley girl, if I can give an example, is
Please.
Like, today I was going to work and I saw this guy and he was like really, really scary and I didn't know what to do.
Oh, no.
So
what did you do?
So they have this very like whiny way of sharing stories and explaining things. Actually, in that series of example questions, in that series of statements, nothing I said was a question, but everything had that upward intonation. So those are a few things that are kind of characteristic, sort of characteristics among women this way. But men, on the other hand, there's this image of the surfer dude from California, and it's typically like young men who speak this way. And they'll be like, yeah, bro, what's up? Like, let's head to the beach sort of thing. This very, how would you describe that? It's like it's like if you could imagine your voice being relaxed and yet rough at the same time.
Sure.
That's kind of what it sounds like. Do you ever like to make fun of Californians and the way they speak? That's my favorite accent to make fun of.
Well, I don't like to make fun of accents as a rule, Alicia.
No?
No, I do.
Well, I should say to mimic.
To mimic.
It's fun. It's my favorite accent to mimic,
It is a fun accent to mimic. And maybe this, I think this accent as well has certain associations with it. Maybe a lot of people might associate stupidity or dumbness with a Californian accent, which is unfortunate because that's not always the case. There are dumb people from everywhere, not only California. But this is an accent that we often associate that with, which is unfortunate.
Right, that's true. Because of the manner of delivery, and also, like, apparently, like right now, this is vocal fry. I'm not even thinking about it, but like dropping your voice into a lower register. But apparently, people associate that with stupidity. Like the people are specifically young women are trying to alter their voice to seem more intelligent or something like that.
Right.
But I don't even think about it, honestly. So it is quite interesting. But California has a range of accents, a range of different ways of talking. So that's just one.
There you go.
Anyway, back to your side of the table.
Absolutely. We're still in alphabetical order, which I like. And I am going to do a Chicago accent now for you. Chicago accent, very kind of stereotypical Midwestern accent. I think there is a wider kind of Midwestern accent, and the Chicago accent is maybe a subset of that. It's not just like the wider Midwestern accent, but there's a Chicago accent too. I don't know this accent super well, but I chose this one because it's an accent that I used to see in one of my favorite Saturday Night Live sketches when I was a kid, which were the Bears fans. The Bears. They're from Chicago, and they love the Chicago Bears. And that's the accent. So it kind of just draws out, what does it do? Chicago. It draws out a lot of vowel sounds. A lot of Midwestern accent draws out vowel sounds and makes them a little higher on your palate, I guess.
Bears.
The Bears.
Bears.
Yeah,
instead of bears.
So it's a little more like open and back and up with the vowels.
I could not do a Chicago accent to save my life.
Try it. Chicago.
There
you go. You're doing
it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, it's a nice accent. I like it. The Chicago accent has associations with like a kind of working class accent. But maybe that's just me.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Yeah, that's a good one. But I don't think I could do.
It's a tough one. I don't want to try saying much more than Chicago and the Bears. Yeah. Because that's just sort of what I've heard people.
Right. It's tough. It's tough. Okay.
It's a good one.
Okay, I'll go north of that then. The next one that I prepared is, I called it Minnesota. So Minnesota is a state that is north-ish of Chicago. Chicago is in Illinois, the state of Illinois. So this is sort of the same region, but this is further north. So you're heading towards Canada. So there are a couple of places, like we talked about, Wisconsin is another state that might have a similar accent here. But Minnesota, similar to Chicago, has these very drawn out vowel sounds. And it's... Okay, I guess I'll just try and...
Let's hear it.
The one thing that we all know how to say is like, oh yeah, sure, you betcha.
Oh, sure, you betcha.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure.
Oh, Alicia.
Oh.
That was a little Irish.
Oh, Minnesotan accents, it sounds very cheery,
yes,
I think.
I think so too.
And that's kind of what throws people off.
It's very friendly.
I shouldn't say throws people off, but it's like, it sounds kind of joyful just on its own. Like, so anything you say in like a Minnesotan accent, it sounds just more happy.
It sounds very sincere to me.
Yeah.
Like if I hear a Minnesota mom saying, oh, sure, you betcha. Have some hot dish.
I don't know what hot dish is.
It's casserole, but they say hot dish.
Hot dish. Okay.
Yeah, it's very sincere and warm and friendly, I think.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, very rounded vowels.
Right. But I'm not sure exactly how far this accent goes in the region.
Sure.
If it extends into Canada, for example. Like Canada, when we talk about a Canadian accent, we use words like ending sentences with eh. That kind of thing. Like, oh yeah, Canada, eh? That sort of thing.
But a lot of Canadian accents differ from American accents too in the vowels, like rounder, longer vowels, compared to sort of a general American accent. And I think Minnesotan accent, or upper Midwest accents, are towards that end of the spectrum as well. So I think Minnesotan accents are similar to maybe a central Canadian accent. I think the most famous example of a Minnesotan accent is from the movie Fargo, the Coen brothers movie, which is Fargo is not in Minnesota, it's in one of the Dakotas, right? North or South Dakota? North Dakota. Fargo's in South Dakota? One of the Dakotas.
Okay.
But that accent is a very classic kind of Minnesotan accent that the characters use.
Right, and I was thinking about that too in choosing that accent to describe because, and this is part of the reason why I said it sounds kind of cheerful, is that movie it's a suspense movie. It's a murder mystery.
Yes.
But everyone is speaking in this kind of cheerful sounding voice. And that really that kind of gives this really kind of strange, mysterious feel to the film.
Yes, there's a good contrast there. I think you're right. I never thought about that, but I agree with you.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, that's a bit about Minnesota. I don't know if it was good or not. But anyway, let's go on to your next one. What do you think?
My last one is Southern accent. And now Southern accents also, there is a lot of variety in Southern accents. Different states in the South, different parts of those states have different Southern accents, but there's also a sort of general Southern accent. I'm from the South. I grew up in the South, but I do not have a Southern accent. But I like to try and pick out, when I hear a Southern accent, I like to try and guess where people are from hearing their accent. But I'm not always right. So there's sort of a general Southern accent, and there are pockets of specific kind of accents in the South. And I also think there's a big distinction in Southern accents between like a rural Southern accent and a more urban or city Southern accent. The city accents are a little bit more they're softer, a little more genteel. And the rural accents are twangier, I would say. So, for example, a gentle Southern accent would be something like, "Hey, y'all, bless your heart," something like that. Whereas a twangy accent would be, "Hey, y'all, bless your heart."
Much sharper.
Sharper, a little more throaty, maybe.
Okay.
But there's a drawl and an elongation and a slowness to a Southern accent that I think is very nice.
Right. And I think going back to what you mentioned about the Boston accent and the way the R sounds in particular change, I think that you can hear that with kind of like you described, the more city version of a Southern accent. Like I think back to like when my grandmother would use the expression, she would say, "Oh Lordy."
Oh Lordy.
Instead of saying, "Oh my God," like that was the Southern way of saying Lordy.
Right.
Or that was a way of saying, "Oh my God." But she would say, as you just said, "Oh Lordy." Like the R sound. When we spell that word on paper, it's Lordy. But when she pronounced it, it was like LAWDY, Lordy. That was the way she made an O and an R sound too. So it was this very soft, slow
it's
way
a
of
slow
speaking.
accent. A lot of the sounds kind of blend together. I think it's a nice accent most of the time. But unfortunately, a Southern accent also has associations that are generally kind of negative in other parts of the country. A lot of people hear a Southern accent and think that a person with a Southern accent is maybe uneducated, not very smart. And again, I think that's very unfortunate because that's not always the case. I think that is an unfair stereotype associated with the accent.
For sure. Okay, then I'll go for my last one a bit to the west of you, I suppose, though this could probably be blending a little bit with Southern accents, I feel. I chose Texas for the next accent. So Texas borders Mexico. And I was thinking about this actually in preparing this card, and I was kind of thinking it's interesting that you don't hear more of an influence, at least among like white English speakers in Texas and in that region. Like there's not more of an influence in terms of like the way Spanish speakers talk. But instead, The Texas accent, the traditional, I guess, stereotypical Texas accent sounds much more similar to a Southern accent, I think.
I agree.
They have what's called the Texas drawl.
Mm-hmm.
So a drawl is like this continuous style of speaking. It's like this really, well, it's not always slow, but it's like there are no breaks almost between words sometimes, or they're like kind of rolling the words together. So we make like clear distinctions, admittedly a little bit exaggerated for this show, but making clear distinctions between words. But in Texas accents, you might not hear such a clear distinction. So some kind of maybe famous things that people say in Texan accents, like even the way the state is pronounced, we say Texas, but Texans might say Texas, Texas.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know.
Sure, why not? Texas.
Texas.
Don't mess with Texas.
Right? That's better.
Sure.
I can't do it very well. Texas. Yeah. It's like, it's
there's a cadence to it, which is nice.
I am struggling to make that sound. It's
Texas.
Without embarrassing myself, but like, it's like the image that kind of speech conjures, like I think you imagine like a cowboy. Like when you hear somebody who speaks this way, it's like a big guy too.
Right.
Like a slow kind of, maybe actually kind of gentle. I have an image of like a slow sort of gentle cowboy. It sounds really weird, but it's just a stereotypical image, I think, of someone who speaks with this typical Texan accent.
Yes, yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
No.
I think that the stereotypical Southern accent, I think that the stereotypical Texan accent also, it inserts a lot of these like glide sounds. There's a lot of neat, like Y and gliding and blended vowels in there. So, when you say like, don't mess with Texas, don't mess with Texas, you know, you're putting in a little Y to kind of wedge that vowel apart.
Right.
Get.
Instead of get.
Get.
Get. Yeah. That's a good one then. That sort of Y sound gets in there. Get up. Y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all
there are a lot.
there
There's some influence with a Southern accent in Texas as well. It's a different accent, but the two are often mistaken. They're similar.
Yeah. And these are just a few accents, really. There are so many, and like some small regional variations as well.
Absolutely.
So these are just a couple examples of maybe the ones that stood out. But it's quite, I feel anyway, it's quite difficult to really replicate another accent if you're not used to using it that much.
It's true. It's hard. And I don't know about you, but I've been very self-conscious.
Me too.
Doing all of these.
Me too.
Hopefully they're accurate. I think we're going to just get completely roasted in the comments.
Could be.
How terrible our accents
Could be. But if you want to know more about these accents, I would recommend just do a quick YouTube search to see what people actually sound like using these accents. Because, you know, maybe we can do a Boston accent or like a Californian accent, okay. But if you really want to see a good example of someone speaking that way, just do a quick YouTube search and maybe you can find some better resources, some actual native speaker resources. We often get asked on this channel, what kind of English are we speaking? People usually ask, is this American English? Is this British English? And the answer is American English. We speak American English on this channel. Both of us are American English speakers, but we have different accents, actually. We sound fairly similar in most ways. But I am from the West Coast. I was born in California, and then I was raised in Oregon. So I have a very West Coast, I suppose, accent. But I think that has also been influenced here and there by the people and the accents that I've spent my time around. So it's mostly West Coast, I would say. There's not really one specific region for me.
Right.
But how would you define your accent?
I would say I have a fairly standard American accent. And so I grew up in the South, as I said, but I don't have a Southern accent. When I go home, my family's still all in the South. I'm not in the South now, but when I go home, some of my Southern accent creeps out. And I kind of let it creep out a little bit, honestly, because it helps show people that I'm from there. I mean, accents in a way are like a membership card to a community. And so I let my Southern accent come out a little bit when I'm home, but otherwise, this is my normal accent, sort of standard American accent. And a standard American accent is sort of like the newscaster accent. It's the flat, overarching accent that you could find in any part of the country. So people from Boston might not have a strong Boston accent. People from California might not have a strong Californian accent. They might have more of a standard American accent that people might pick up from just watching TV growing up, which is maybe what happened with me. But I also know that I have one interesting thing about accents. We've been talking a lot about pronunciation, but word choice is also a big part of accents. The different words people use for different things. Like, for example, in Minnesota, it's hot dish, but other parts of the country, it's casserole and things like that. And some of the words that I use, that I have in my lexicon, in my vocabulary, my internal vocabulary, are very New England because my parents are from the East Coast. And so I pronounce your mother, or excuse me, your mother or father's sister is your
aunt.
I say aunt.
How do you say the word F-O-R?
For.
Fur.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I'm going to go to the store for some milk. We say fur.
I might say fur if I'm saying it quickly, but I'm more likely to say for, I would say. I'm going to the store for some milk.
I definitely say fur.
Interesting. So.
How do you pronounce K-N-E-W?
K-N-E-W? New.
Yeah, I think I say new as well. But I've heard some people they recognize the K sound and make it more of like a new sort of sound.
Okay.
I just say new.
New.
Like
I would say
N-U.
new. I knew
That's
it.
how I pronounce it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like dialects for sure.
Yeah, dialects,
They are a huge part of language as well, not just accent. There is one fierce debate that has raged for a long time. Fierce debate means a strong, heated discussion that has raged for a long time, meaning it has continued for a long time. Soda, pop, Coke, cola. Those four words are used in different regions of the USA. Pop?
You left off pop, or did you say pop?
I thought I said pop.
Did you say pop?
I don't know.
Okay, sorry.
I said pop!
I ruined it.
Yeah!
I ruined it.
Okay,
Take it back.
Okay, so soda, pop, Coke, cola. Those four words all mean fizzy, carbonated drink. When I grew up in California and in Oregon, we used pop.
Okay.
We used pop. Absolutely not Coke, because in my mind, Coke is a brand and that is specific to one item only. What did you use?
Coke.
Coke!
Because I'm from the South.
No.
In the South, people say Coke because Coke is a Southern brand. It's from Atlanta. But when I moved out of the South and I moved to the West Coast when I was 18, I taught myself to say soda. I started saying soda.
Wait, you started saying soda when you moved to the West Coast?
Yes. Growing up in the South, I would go to a restaurant when I was a kid, with my parents, and what do you want, hon? I'll have a Coke, please. What kind? Sprite. Whatever, all of those things are Coke. Any soda was Coke. I think that's changing now, maybe. Maybe more people are saying soda in the South. But I definitely said Coke growing up. And I changed to Coke.
I think I said pop a lot.
Sure. Fun vocab for you for the day. If you look at a map, say you have a map of the United States, and down here you've got Coke, and over here you've got soda, and over here you've got pop. The border between those zones is an isogloss.
What?
Isogloss.
Isogloss.
Yes, an isogloss is the term used to demarcate between regions based on dialect.
Interesting.
And that's your word of the day.
Though I'm interested. It's literally something you could draw a line down.
It's not. There's a lot of crossover. And so you can see isogloss maps. If you just get on Google and you Google, United States isogloss maps, you'll see different maps for different terms and different words. And sometimes you'll see quizzes, like these Facebook quizzes kind of things where, how do you pronounce this word? What do you call this insect? And so on. And based on how you answer, those quizzes are pretty accurate at predicting where you're from. Isogloss is the word ISOGLOSS. So if you Google isogloss, United States or American isogloss map, something like that, you can find some very interesting images that show you how different words are pronounced or different words that are used for the same thing in different parts of the country. And the lines are not sharp. There's a lot of blending and gray area where those lines meet.
Interesting. So maybe if you find an accent that you like, and you want to know more about that, you can use one of those.
Study
an isogloss
some isogloss maps.
You never know. It
Yeah.
sounds interesting. Cool. Thanks for telling. I didn't know about that. That's the first
Sure.
time I'd ever heard of an isogloss map. I
There you
learned
go.
something. Very cool.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up there. So those are a few accents from the USA. Again, these are not by any means the only accents in the USA. Definitely have a look at some other videos online if you want to know more about these accents, and definitely check out isogloss maps, as Davey recommended, to learn a little bit more about each region where different accents are spoken. But I think we'll finish up here for now. Any final thoughts?
No. I wanted to squeeze in an accent, but I couldn't think of a good one for just saying no. No.
Y'all right there.
Nothing more from me.
Okay, we'll finish up for that one then. All right, thanks as always, everybody, for watching this episode of English Topics. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other study resources. Thanks very much for watching this episode, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye. In this video, you'll learn 20 of the most common words and phrases in English. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. Welcome to the 800 Core English Words and Phrases video series. This series will teach you the 800 most common words and phrases in English. But there's a twist. With each new lesson in this series, we'll include the previous lessons at the end. So after you've learned the new words and phrases, stick around and review what you learned in previous lessons. Reviewing is one of the most important parts of learning a language. You can also get the full list right now at EnglishClass101.com. Click the link in the description to access more example sentences, create your own flashcard deck, and finally, master English. Okay, let's get started. First is hello. 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 Hello is the most basic greeting that you can use. You can use it with your friends, with your family members, with your coworkers. Any time of day is fine. Hello, how have you been? Hello, how have you been? Hello, how have you been? Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. So excuse me is the expression you can use when you bump into somebody or when you need to interrupt somebody who's working on something. It's a nice apology expression to use. Excuse me, how much is this? Excuse me, how much is this? Excuse me, how much is this? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So we use I'm sorry in cases where we make a mistake. So I did something wrong or I did something bad. I use I'm sorry to apologize. I'm sorry, it was a typo. I'm sorry, it was a typo. I'm sorry, it was a typo. Good night. Good night. Good night. So good night is the expression we use at the end of the day when we want to say goodbye to someone or when we want to wish our family members a good night of sleep. Good night, Grandma. Good night, Grandma. Good night, Grandma. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So nice to meet you is the expression we use the first time we meet someone. We don't use this like the second or the third time we see someone, only for the first time. Please come in. Nice to meet you. Please come in. Nice to meet you. Please come in. Nice to meet you. How are you? How are you? How are you? So how are you is used as a very general greeting. When we see our coworker for the first time or we see a classmate for the first time, we ask, how are you? Meaning, what's your condition right now? It's been a long time. How are you? It's been a long time. How are you? It's been a long time. How are you? Yes. 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 So yes is the word we use to agree with something or to show we think something is good or correct. You can use yes in any of those cases. Yes, this one please. Yes, this one please. Yes, this one please. No. 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 So no is the opposite of yes. We use it when we want to disagree or show that we think something is not good or is maybe not the best option. No, I haven't eaten yet. No, I haven't eaten yet. No, I haven't eaten yet. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you is used to express your appreciation for something. You can use this after you receive a gift or someone does something for you. Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm. So I'm is the reduced form of I and am. It becomes I'm. Make sure to clearly pronounce that sound, like when you're introducing yourself. I'm John. I'm John. I'm John. Goodbye. 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 So goodbye is one way to say like something at the end of the day, usually, to say bye to someone. Goodbye sounds a little bit more formal than just bye, but you can use it to sound polite. Goodbye. See you again. Goodbye. See you again. Goodbye. See you again. Bad. 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 Okay, so bad is a word that means not good. You can use it to describe something you don't like or that you think is inappropriate. Be careful of bad people. Be careful of bad people. Be careful of bad people. Good. 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 So good is the opposite of bad. You can use it when you want to express that you like something or that you think something is positive. My teacher is a good person. My teacher is a good person. My teacher is a good person. Pretty. 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 So pretty is used to describe someone or something's physical appearance, something that we think is beautiful. I have a pretty girlfriend. I have a pretty girlfriend. I have a pretty girlfriend. Ugly. 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 So ugly is the opposite of pretty. We use this word to describe something that we think is not pleasing or is unpleasant. Ugly face. Ugly face. Ugly face. Easy. 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 So easy is used to talk about something that is not difficult. It's maybe something that's simple to do. Easy exam. Easy exam. Easy exam. Difficult. 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 So difficult describes something that is hard or something that is challenging to do. Difficult problem. Difficult problem. Difficult problem. Near. 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 Near is used to talk about something that is close to us. It's something that we can go to quickly and easily. I live near the university. I live near the university. I live near the university. Far. 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 So far is the opposite of near. Far means something that is at great distance from something else. There's like a long way to get to something. The station is far from here. The station is far from here. The station is far from here. Small. 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 So small is the opposite of big. We use it to describe things that are little. You can use it for concepts, for objects, or for people. Small mistake. Small mistake. Small mistake. Well done! In this lesson, you expanded your vocabulary and learned 20 new useful words. Click the link in the description and sign up for free at EnglishClass101.com to get access to the full list of vocabulary you'll need for daily life conversations. You'll also get example sentences, custom flashcard decks, and more learning resources. See you next time. Bye-bye. Going to the beach. Hi everybody, welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to be talking about 20 travel phrases that you should know. So let's go. Do you have any recommendations? The first phrase is, do you have any recommendations? This is great to use when you get to a restaurant where you don't know what the food is, you don't know anything about the local cuisine, or you're just feeling a little bit adventurous. You can ask the waitstaff, do you have any recommendations? How much is this? How much is this? This is useful when you're out shopping or when you're in a restaurant and the price is not clearly marked or something is not clear to you. So you can ask, how much is this? Usually when you point to something, I would recommend like pointing to the menu or pointing to an item. How much is this? I'd like this. You can point to something and say, I'd like this. If you want to say, I'd like one, for example, I don't know, you're getting beer. I'd like one of these. If, however, you're in a situation where you can't point, you can say, I'd like 10 of the blah, blah, blah. I'd like 10 of the blue t-shirts, please. Can I try this on? Is useful when you're shopping for clothes. So you find something that you'd like to try, just ask the staff, can I try this on? You can just say, I want to try this on, if you like. Do you speak English? You might get asked this phrase. So you should say, if you're watching this video, you should probably say yes, or you can say yes, a little, if you're not feeling very confident. If you're watching this video and you're understanding this part and you say no, then that's a little strange. So, I have a reservation. Usually the staff will greet you and you can say, I have a reservation. Hello, I have a reservation. It's at 7 o'clock. The name is Alicia. Usually we say the name is, or it's under, meaning the reservation is under my name, or it's for name, or it's in name. Water, please. Depending on which country you're from, water may or may not automatically be brought to your table when you're at a restaurant. If you would like more water, however, you can say, water, please. To make it a little more polite, I would wave at the waitstaff and say, could I please have some more water? Do you take credit cards? Do you take credit cards? In case you're not sure if the shop that you're in will accept credit cards or debit cards, you can ask them, do you take credit cards? So it doesn't mean, do you take, meaning, are you going to take my card? But this take means, do you accept credit cards? This isn't what I ordered. So if you're at a restaurant, you order steak and you get lobster instead. You can look at it and go, ah, this isn't what I ordered. Be careful though. Say this politely. If you look at the waitstaff and you say, this isn't what I ordered, they're gonna be like, I don't know, just be a nice customer. Excuse me, but I don't think this is what I ordered, or this isn't what I ordered. Can you please check? Could we have the menu, please? If for some reason you don't receive a menu when you come to the table, you can, again, just wave at a member of the staff and say, could we have the menu, please? Could you give me a discount? Could you give me a discount means I would like a cheaper price, essentially. So it depends on which country you're in. If haggling or bargaining, meaning talking to the seller to try to reduce the price. My family didn't bargain, we didn't haggle, so I don't haggle. It depends on you and your culture, but just be aware of the culture that you're in and the place that you're in before you ask this question. Do you have any vegetarian dishes? Ah, this is useful. Some people have specific eating requirements or eating needs, maybe food allergies, for example, you can replace vegetarian with the specific dietary requirement that you have. Do you have any vegan dishes? Do you have any gluten-free dishes? Do you have any low-fat dishes? Do you have any low-carb dishes? Do you have any fish-free dishes? Do you have any... Could you take a picture of me, please? If you are in a location where you would like to take a picture, but you don't want to do a selfie, or you don't have a selfie stick, or whatever, you want someone else to take a picture of you, a stranger that you don't know, you can ask them, could you take a picture of me, please? Or, excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of me, please? I'm allergic to blah, blah, blah. If you have a food allergy or even an allergy to a medicine, this is the phrase you can use to explain that. I'm allergic to wheat, or I can't eat wheat, for example. Is the Wi-Fi free? Meaning, can I use the Wi-Fi free of charge? Keep in mind, some places have a password that you have to ask the staff for. So you can say, is the Wi-Fi free? If they say yes, you can then follow that up with, can I have the password? I'd like to have a non-smoking seat, please. So when you go to a restaurant, you have an option between smoking and non-smoking sections. The staff will say smoking or non-smoking. You can say, I'd like to have a non-smoking seat, please. Quite honestly though, the most natural response is just to say non-smoking. Could I get a map? Maybe it's a map of the subway system for the city that you're in, or maybe it's a map of the area around your hotel. You could say, could I have a map as well? Could I have the check? You're finished at your cafe, you're finished at the restaurant, and it's time to leave, it's time to pay. So you say to the waitstaff, excuse me, could I have the check? Another more common expression perhaps is, excuse me, check please. You might also hear bill. Excuse me, can I have the bill? Where is the bathroom? Very important question. If you're traveling in America, we don't really use the word toilet or washroom very much. We use bathroom or restroom to talk about toilet facilities. Excuse me, can you tell me where the bathroom is? Or excuse me, I'm looking for the bathroom, or I'm looking for the restroom. Is this the train for blah, blah, blah? Or is this the train that goes to blah, 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 to confirm with someone that I'm indeed on the correct train line. If I say, is this the train bound for San Francisco? You can use that to check if you're correct. So that's the end. Those are 20 travel phrases that you can use when you're traveling in an English-speaking country. Give them a try. I hope that they go well for you. Of course, there are many different variations on these themes, so be sure to experiment a little bit. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Top Words, and we will see you again soon. Bye! The things that I do before I travel to a country where I cannot speak the language, I actually learned numbers. Okay, Fiend. Hi everybody, welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to be talking about the top 10 ways to prepare for travel. So let's go. Choose your destination. The first step is to choose your destination. Destination is the place you want to go. So, of course, choose your destination to begin your travels. In a sentence, if you choose your destination based only on price, you might be disappointed. Buy a guidebook. The next expression is buy a guidebook, or maybe download a guidebook at this point. Buy a guidebook. So once you have chosen your destination, you can buy a guidebook for your destination, which will give you tips about what to do there. In a sentence, I bought my guidebook on the internet and it was great. You can buy a guidebook at a used bookstore for less. Save money. Phrase for travel is save money. So once you have chosen your destination and bought a guidebook, you need to save money if you haven't saved money already. So travel can be expensive. You need to save money for your actual transportation as well as for the things you plan to do in your destination. So in a sentence, I'm trying to save money for a trip to Europe next year. Saving money is hard, but it's worth it when you're on the trip. Book a flight. The next step is to book a flight. So you've saved your money, you've chosen your destination, you've bought the guidebook, now you need to book your flight. So to book means to reserve. It's the same as in like book a restaurant, for example, book a hotel, book a flight. So in a sentence, I booked my flight for my vacation last week. Research the costs. Research the costs. Well, I hope you do this before you book your flight, but You research the costs of where you're going to go. How much does it cost to eat there? How much does transportation cost there? How much are sightseeing attractions going to cost there? Those kinds of things. So you need to research the costs for your trip. In a sentence, I researched the costs for my upcoming vacation in Europe, and it seems pretty reasonable. Request vacation time. The next step is to request vacation time, or to request time off, or to ask for time off. So at your job, if you need to take time away from your job to go traveling somewhere, you need to request vacation time. In a sentence, I'm going to request vacation time next week and I feel a little bit nervous. Book accommodations. The next expression is book accommodations, or just book a hotel, or book a hostel, something like that. Book an Airbnb as well is fine. So this means to reserve the place you are going to stay in your destination. Let's see. In a sentence, I booked my hotel on the internet. Obtain an international driving license. The next one, for some of you, perhaps if you really want to do all of the things, you can obtain an international driving license. So maybe if you really, really, really want to be able to drive a car in your destination, you can get a driver's license, permission to drive a car in the country of your destination. So in a sentence, I'm taking the test for my international driver's license next week. I hope I pass. Pack. The next one is the verb pack. So to pack. Pack means to put things in a suitcase or to put things in a box. This motion of putting things in something else for the purpose of taking them elsewhere is packing. We do it when we move to a new house or when we travel. In a sentence, I need to pack for my trip next week. Get a visa. The next expression is get a visa. So in some countries, you need to get a visa before you go to the country. Even if you're just there as a tourist, you need to get a visa, special permission to be in that country. Sometimes you have to pay money for it, so you need to research this before you travel. In a sentence, I got my visa when I arrived in Australia. All right, so those are 10 phrases that you can use as you prepare to travel. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you can use these the next time you plan to travel somewhere. Thanks very much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for more fun stuff. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye!
Hi everyone, my name is Bridget, and welcome to today's lesson. The topic for this lesson is Top 10 Must-Know Phrases for the Restaurant. Let's get started. A table for 3, please. A table for 3, please. You tell them the number of people that you are total so that the host can bring you to an appropriate table. A table for 2, please. A table for 5, please. Could I please see a menu? Could I please see a menu? Usually, menus are given to you as soon as you sit down at your table. But if that's not the case and you need to ask, this is a polite way to do it. Could I please see a menu? I'd like to try this dish. I'd like to try this dish. When looking at a menu, hopefully you'll find something you want to eat. I'd like to try this dish. Could you leave out the onions? Could you leave out the onions? If there's an ingredient in the dish that you're ordering that you don't want, you can always ask the waiter if it could be prepared without that ingredient. So for example, I might say, could I get the burger but with no cheese? Could you pass the salt? Could you pass the salt? When you're at a restaurant, especially if you're at a big table with a lot of people, you might not always be able to reach things. So you would ask, could you pass me the salt? Could you pass me the ketchup? Could you pass me another napkin? Waiter! Waiter! A waiter is someone who takes your order and brings you food. In America and in many other Western countries, it's more polite to call a waiter to your table by simply saying, "Excuse me?" Or if you see another waiter walking by, but it's not your waiter, you can always say, "Excuse me, if you see our waiter, could you please let them know to come to our table?" Is there any dairy in this dish? Is there any dairy in this dish? This is something you would say if you have a dairy allergy, a dairy intolerance, or you just don't like dairy. You're asking the waiter about the ingredients in a particular dish. I do this all the time. Is there any cheese in this? No? Okay. And if there is an ingredient that you don't want, For example, onions. You could say, "Are there any onions in this?" And the waiter might say yes. And if you don't want it, you could always request, "Could you leave out the onions? Could you prepare it without the onions, please?" Can we get separate checks? Can we get separate checks? This is actually something that's very common, especially in America. If you might go out with a group of friends, or even if you're on a date, sometimes you might want to get separate checks, pay for your own things. That way, you can all pay separately just for what you yourself ordered, and you won't have to worry about owing each other money or calculating off a big, huge bill. Are there any specials today? Are there any specials today? A special at a restaurant is a dish that isn't usually on the menu. It's something that's special, but it's a special that the chef is offering that day or that week or that month. So sometimes if you don't see what the specials are, you'd ask your waiter, "Excuse me, are there any specials today? Could we have the bill, please? Could we have the bill, please?" This is how you request that the check or the bill comes to your table. "Could we get the check, please? Could we get the bill, please?" You're asking this to your waiter, who will then bring you the check and you can pay. And that brings us to the end of today's lesson. If you guys enjoyed this lesson, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And don't forget to go to EnglishClass101.com to learn more English.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to be talking about the top 10 must-know vocabulary for restaurants. So, let's eat. Waiter. The first word is waiter. Waiter or waitress or waitstaff. These are the people who bring you your food and take your orders. In a sentence, your waiter will be with you in a moment. Menu. The next word is menu. Menu is the piece of paper or the document, the thing that's on your table or near your table that has a description of all the food you can eat at that restaurant. In a sentence, can I have the menu, please? Order. The next word is order. Order, you can use this as a noun or as a verb. You can say to order something or where is my order? In a sentence, I would like to order 2 steaks, 3 hamburgers, 4 beers, a large pizza, and a piece of chocolate cake to go to my home. Water. The next word is water. In American restaurants, you usually get water for free. I noticed when I traveled in Europe, you had to pay for water at restaurants. That was interesting. In a sentence, American restaurants usually give you a glass of water without having to ask. Dessert. The next word is dessert. Dessert is the sweet stuff, the sweet course, all the sweet foods that come after the main part of the meal. In a sentence, can we see the dessert menu? Chef. Chef. Chef is the leader of the kitchen, the person that is cooking the food. In fancy restaurants, the chef is like the one who is running the operation, the manager of everything. There are different levels of chef in the kitchen. In a sentence, you can say, please give my compliments to the chef. Fast food. The next word is fast food. Fast food is anything that's quick. Popular examples in America are McDonald's, Burger King, Subway, Taco Bell, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Jack in the Box. So those are all fast food restaurants. You get in and you get out very, very quickly. They don't have a reputation for being very healthy. In a sentence, I try to eat fast food as rarely as possible. Bill. The next word is bill. You might also hear check. Bill and check mean the total of your meal. How much your dining experience cost you is the bill or the check. A bill comes before you have paid. A receipt is the piece of paper you get after you have paid. The receipt confirms you have paid money. The bill is the request for money. That's the difference between bill or check and receipt. In a sentence, usually you say, can I have the bill, please? Or can I have the check, please? Delicious. Delicious. Delicious means something that tastes good. We have many variations on delicious. We say delicious, good, yum, yummy, fantastic, great, and so on. It's kind of strange to me to say this is delicious. I usually just say this is good or this is really good. Something like that is a bit more natural than delicious. In a sentence, my dinner today was delicious. Main course. Main course. It's often like a meat dish, actually, like roast something or I don't know. It's also called the entree. Maybe it's a really fancy pasta dish in some cases. I don't know. In a sentence, for the main course, our specials are chicken and zucchini and curry. That's the end. So those are 10 words that you can use in a restaurant. I think they're very useful when traveling, actually. So try to keep them in mind the next time you go out to eat. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. And if you like, also, please check us out at EnglishClass101.com for more fun stuff. Thanks very much. Bye.
Want to speak real English from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at EnglishClass101.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Bridget and welcome to today's lesson. Today's topic is 10 ways to say hello in English. Good morning. Good morning is the first thing you say to someone when you see them in the morning. Good morning, sir. Would you like a cup of coffee? Good morning. Could I please get some orange juice? Good morning. I'm still tired from the night before. Hello. Hello is the most common greeting you'll hear, that and hi. Hello is a polite, nice way to greet someone when you see them. Hello. Everyone says it, you cannot go wrong saying hello. Hello can be used at any time of the day, no matter whether it's morning or at night or at 4 a.m. When you see someone, you can say hello and it will still be appropriate. Long time no see. Long time no see. It's not necessarily grammatically correct, but it's a saying that we have. Hey, long time no see. What it means is that you haven't seen that person in a long time. So it literally means long time no see. Long time no see is something you say to someone when you haven't seen them in a while. Hey, John. Long time no see. How are the wife and kids? How have you been? Hey, how have you been? I haven't seen you in a long time. How have you been is asking someone how they're doing and how they've been for the past however long if you haven't seen them in a while. You might say, hey, long time no see. How have you been? How have you been? That's past tense. It implies that you haven't seen them in a while and you want to hear about how they are and how they've been for all of that time that you haven't seen them. Hey, long time no see. How have you been? How are you? How are you means how are you doing? How are you feeling? How is everything? It's a standard thing that you might say to anyone, even if you've seen them the day before. You might see them today and say, hey, how are you? How's it going? Hey, how's it going? How's it going is a more informal way to say, how are you? So, how are you and how's it going, they mean the same thing. It's asking how you are doing, how you are feeling. Is everything okay with you? What's up? What's up is another way of saying, hey, how's it going? But this one is even more informal. So you might say this to friends. Hey, what's up? And they'll say, nothing. Just living my life, day in and day out. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you? Would you like some lunch? Good afternoon is a polite way to greet someone in the afternoon. So if you run into your boss, you might say, good afternoon. It's very nice. It's polite. Not a lot of people say it to their friends, but it's a polite way to greet someone. Good evening. Good evening is a nice way to greet someone in the evening time. You can only use this phrase in the evening because it's wishing someone a good evening. It's saying hello at a certain time of day. Good evening. Would you like some dinner? Good evening. Have you eaten yet? All of my examples involve food, it seems. It's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you. This is something that's very common to say the first time that you meet someone. You might shake their hand and say, hi, it's nice to meet you. My name is Bridget. My name is... It's telling that person that you are happy to be meeting them. It's a pleasure to meet them. Hi, it's nice to meet you. That brings us to the end of this lesson, 10 ways to say hello. If you guys liked the video, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And don't forget to go to EnglishClass101.com for more English.
Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary, followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Okay, everybody. Shift information has been posted for the month. It looks like we'll visit 25 cities in 30 days.
Do we normally visit 25 different cities in 1 month?
Yes, sometimes we visit even more.
Where's our first stop?
Charlotte.
Hey, I have friends in Charlotte. It would be nice to see them.
Now you will hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Shift.
Scheduled time for a person to work.
Shift. Shift. Posted.
Affixed or placed on a wall, board, or website.
Posted. Posted. Month.
Any of the 12 divisions of the calendar year.
Month. Month. Visit.
To go to and stay at a place for a short period of time.
Visit. Visit. 30.
A cardinal number representing the third cycle of 10.
30. 30. Normally.
In a normal or regular way.
Normally. Normally. Different.
Not alike. Dissimilar.
Different. Different. Cities.
2 or more large or important towns.
Cities. Cities. Stop.
An interruption in a journey.
Stop. Stop.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Okay, everybody. Shift information has been posted for the month. It looks like we'll visit 25 cities in 30 days.
Do we normally visit 25 different cities in 1 month?
Yes, sometimes we visit even more.
Where's our first stop?
Charlotte.
Hey, I have friends in Charlotte. It would be nice to see them.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson. Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary, followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Excuse me, I'm not from San Jose. Could you tell me how to get to Alexander's, please?
Alexander's? You mean the little steakhouse on the corner?
I'll bet that's it. I'm a flight attendant and my crew is supposed to meet me there in a few hours.
Well, it's 3 streets that way, then turn left. There's a big sign that says Alexander's.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now you will hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Steakhouse.
A restaurant that specializes in serving steaks.
Steakhouse. Attendant.
A person employed to provide a service.
Attendant. Streets.
Public roads in a city or town.
Streets. Corner.
An angle where 2 or more sides meet.
Corner.
Flight.
Act of flying.
Flight.
Crew.
A group of people who work on and operate some kind of ship.
Crew.
Turn. To move in a particular direction. Turn.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Excuse me, I'm not from San Jose. Could you tell me how to get to Alexander's, please?
Alexander's? You mean the little steakhouse on the corner?
I'll bet that's it. I'm a flight attendant and my crew is supposed to meet me there in a few hours.
Well, it's 3 streets that way, then turn left. There's a big sign that says Alexander's.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson.
Hi everybody, my name is Alicia and welcome back to Top Words. Today's topic is 10 lines you need for introducing yourself. So let's go. Hello, it's nice to meet you. Hello, it's nice to meet you. You can only use this the first time that you meet someone. If you say this to somebody after you have met them already, you're going to seem either A, like you've completely forgotten meeting them, or B, like you are a very strange person for saying it's nice to meet you again. So, when you use this the first time, you can shake hands with someone and say, hello, it's nice to meet you. My name is. The next phrase is, my name is blah, blah, blah. In my case, my name is Alicia. You can use this again when you're introducing yourself, or if you need to reintroduce yourself, you can use this pattern. When you meet somebody at a party, for example, you can say, my name is blah, blah, blah. My name is Barbara. My name is Stevens. You can shorten this. You can say, my name's blah, blah, blah. I'm from. After you've said your name, after you've shaken hands, you can say, I'm from the US, I'm from Japan, I'm from Turkey, I'm from your mom's house, I'm from I'm from a cave in Southern Europe, I'm from your country, or I'm from your city. I'm from the future. Wow. Wow. I have to go. I live in blah, blah, blah. You can use your city. You can use your country, you can use, even maybe if you live near a certain station, you can use the name of the station where you live. So for example, I live in America is fine. I live in Los Angeles is fine. I live in New York is fine. So your neighborhood is fine. If someone says, where do you live? And you say, I live in an apartment. It's like, what? So please use the region or the location where you live, not the type of place where you live. If you hear the question, what do you do? It's asking about your job. In English, people don't say, what is your job? that's not the question that we ask. Instead, the question is, what do you do? And the correct response to that is I'm a or I'm an blah, 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 followed by your job title. So if someone says, what do you do? You can say, I'm a teacher. What do you do? I'm an engineer. What do you do? I'm a donut shop tester. I'm years old. When someone asks, how old are you? You can say, I'm blah, 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 years old. Don't forget the S at the end of this. If you like, you can shorten this phrase to just I'm plus your age. So I'm 65. I'm 13, whatever. I'm this many. Sometimes children will say that. How old are you? They'll say, I'm this many. It's kind of cute. First time you meet someone, you might not ask, how old are you? If it's in a friendly case, like in a party after you've spoken to the person a little bit, it's okay. But just try to be sensitive to the context. Try to be sensitive to the people around you. And if you sense that maybe there's a very large age gap between you, it might be better just not to ask the question at all. I enjoy. Many of my students say, what is your hobby? But that's not something that native speakers will say. No native speakers say, what is your hobby? Instead, we ask, what do you like to do? Or what do you do in your free time? This is a much more natural question than what's your hobby? The answer to this then is I enjoy or I like plus a noun phrase. So for example, what do you like to do? I like listening to music, or I enjoy listening to music. What do you do in your free time? I like watching movies. What do you do in your free time? I like baking cakes. What do you do in your free time? I enjoy tap dancing. What do you do in your free time? I enjoy making new friends. Aw. One of my hobbies is blah, blah, blah. With this one, it's probably better to use a short, easy to understand hobby. If you're explaining a hobby, people are going to expect that it's going to be something that they know about, like photography or cooking or dancing or swimming or whatever. So try to pick something that will allow you to continue the conversation. That's why movies or cooking or books or, sports are a good thing to share. One of my hobbies is snowboarding. I've been learning English for. If you are learning English, if you're studying English, you can use this expression. If someone asks you, how long have you been studying English? You can say, I've been studying English for amount of time. Or I've been learning English, or I've been practicing English, or I've been speaking English for a certain amount of time. I've been studying English since elementary school is also okay to use. I've been studying English since I was in college. Just be careful. For is used for a length of time, and since is used for a specific point in time at which you started something. So you can try and mix it up and use a few different expressions there. So I've been learning English for a long time. I'm still learning English. You should do that too. Okay, I'm learning English at EnglishClass101.com. This probably could be used in response to where did you learn English, or where are you studying English, or how are you studying English? You can respond with, I'm learning English at EnglishClass101.com, or I'm learning English at my school. I'm learning English at my private teacher's house, for example. So a little bit of grammar in this sentence. Why do we use the progressive tense, I'm learning English? If you say I'm learning, it sounds like you're still continuing your studies. If you say I learned English at EnglishClass101.com, it sounds like you're finished. Like you're finished studying, there's nothing else for you to study, so you're done. So it's much, much more natural to actually use the progressive I'm learning or I'm studying when you're talking about your studies, when you're talking about your hobbies, than it is to say I learned or I studied. So those were 10 lines that you need to introduce yourself and to help give the other person a little bit of information and carry the conversation forward. So please try them, please go crazy with them, make them your own. Thanks very much for joining us for this episode of Top Words, and we'll see you again soon. Bye. I'm from your neighbor's doghouse. Fish. Glub, glub.
Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free English ebook before it's gone.